I want to start with the groove. So I want to make sure that the bass and the drums sound good, and then I bring in the vocal. And if you can make it feel like music there, then everything else is gravy, right? Then you're just bringing in the color of the chords. You're bringing in
Totally.
the synths or the pads or the guitar lines or whatever. But like that's all supposed to be filling it out.
It's the wallpaper.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of my favorite ways to start a mix. But sometimes the song just is not about the bass line, you know, and so I can't build it around the bass line because that's just not the point. Maybe it's an acoustic song, or maybe what if the pad is the most important part and it's so thick, like I have to mix to that, you know, the bass line needs to fit inside of that like big Juno pad that's just kind of like phasing between speakers.
Totally. Well, you mentioned you kind of maybe sometimes mix in the production arrangement session, like it's all in the same one, or do you ever take it out, start over?
No. By the time I've gotten all those sounds, like if I'm arranging everything, I've probably already put EQ and compression on all the tracks. They're saturated how I want. It's basically already like mixed. That process actually is like a whole different pricing structure for me when I'm working with artists, because I don't have to charge for a full mix because I've already mostly mixed. By the time you sign off on the arrangement, you're almost signing off on mix 1. After that, I just need to do mix 2 and we're kind of done, you know?
Love it. Yeah. I just find that sometimes for me, I personally need to like get it out of the production thing so I can have like a clean set of ears to work on a mix, because I feel like it's a slightly different approach. And yeah, if I'm mixing inside of like the production session, sometimes it's like way dark and not like, you know, bright enough, or like it's just not like I'm coming at it from a completely different mindset, you know? I find that difficult.
I get too nervous to like print that delay, I guess. If the delay is like a part of the guitar sound, like would you print that down then and then bring that into your new session, or would you?
I might like copy the settings on whatever plugin it was, or save it as a preset or something. Yeah, if I was committed to something like that, or I would just print it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll print, like if I'm using the Plugin Alliance bass amp, SVT thing, and it's just making the bass tone, I'll just print it in there. You know, I won't redo that in the mix. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I do a lot of hiding tracks. I will print and then just hide them all at the top. You know, I'll have like a whole other unmixed session at the top.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I want to do what you're saying, but I guess I get like I'm already like so in it, and I'm like, oh, it would take me 3 hours to print this.
I love that you're able to do that. I know, first of all, you're totally right, and it does take a long time to print things, but I find I need the perspective. That's really the main reason I leave the production, not for CPU usage, or it's just like I need a fresh start so I can actually make sure the balances are good and it's, I don't know, spectrally where I want it to be.
Speaking of CPU usage, that song that we played from The Sauce, I remember working on that record. It was a long time ago. I might have just been working on a laptop at that point, with like a monitor, and I opened up that session. Everything was frozen because I remember when I was doing mix notes, I couldn't even play the song without it crashing. So all I could do was export it.
Oh my gosh.
You know, internally and not in real time. So I would, you know, if they wanted guitar down, I was like, all right, we're just going to kind of turn this guitar down and we're going to export
hilarious.
That was awful. So now I just got a new iMac last year because mine died last year. And so I got the newest one, and it's like nothing could crash. I mean, I don't want to, you know, knock on wood, but like there's just like,
yeah.
It's almost stupid because there's like no limit. I could do any amount of damage to the CPU. You can just keep putting on soothe all day.
That's amazing. But you're still on like the Intel iMacs, right? It's not an M1 processor.
No, yeah. I just got the like 2020 iMac, I guess. Yeah, Intel.
Amazing. Oh, it's good to hear that those are still cruising. I'm gonna try not to upgrade until the Apple chips are like super dialed in, you know?
Oh, that's what I want for my mobile rig, because I'm using like a MacBook Pro, and I'd really love to just have a monitor, like a cheaper monitor that I bring with me, and then one of those M1s, and then you're like, you know, like Mac Mini.
Go crazy.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Totally. Yeah. Wow, we've touched on so many things. I just got a couple more questions for you. You know, we all have days where we're, you know, pumped to get into the studio, but there's also days where we're, you know, burnt out, we're tired. Do you do any practices to stay fresh, stay creative? You seem like you just have a ton of energy, so I don't know.
Yeah. Honestly, just the different projects is so helpful. Like, I mean, I'll go from I was mixing an opera and a full length indie rock record at the same time. And so it's super, each one gets you excited about a different thing that you're doing. And so I find that is really good. I can't imagine if I was making similar sounding records every day. I think I would lose creative juice, but because everything's different, it requires a new approach. I do exercise a lot. I like rock climbing. I think time away is great. I think, people like to drive and listen to their mixes. I think, I like to go climbing and do that and go for runs. I think that can be overlooked. Just like taking time away, not listening to anything for the morning. And mornings are kind of a sacred, like, no music time. Got into podcasts in the morning so I can kind of stay fresh before I get to mixing. But something that really keeps me creative, and that I've tried to make a habit of, I just got so tired of working in the box on sounds. I know that there's more processing in there. I know that I can use the massive, Contact library to build whatever synth I want. But like part of me still just wants, like I got a Rhodes last year because I wanted to be able to just like, when an artist is here, I don't want to spend 30 minutes cycling through sounds with them to play a chord, because then my back's to them and I'm doing something that they can't do and they can't play on it because the keyboard's next to my lap. Having that there and able to like run it through outboard effects like a pedal board or something, even if I want to do it later through MIDI or whatever, I find the artist and myself, we get so much more inspired by playing that.
Yeah.
I got a lap steel for the same reason. It was like, well, we could probably do this like a million different ways, but like this through a reverb is really fun. And so many weird surprises happen that way.
Yeah. Well, I love that. That's such a great tip. I only have one more question for you and then we can wrap it. When you were getting started on your journey, was there something that you maybe did or didn't do that you'd want to impart on your on your previous self now today that, hey, that was like probably a move you shouldn't do, or hey, you're doing something right, just keep at it,
I'm going to just have to ask you a question first. Do you go back and listen to your old records and think, that was better than I thought it was? Does that ever happen?
I get both ways.
That happens to me all the time.
Oh, yeah?
Well, like, we're so hard on ourselves, right? And I think I would just always tell myself to be like less hard. Like, what you're doing, it's music. Trust yourself. You love music. You're not putting out something that is just that you aren't happy with. But so many memories of like the mixing process of records. I just remember feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is ever going to be done to my standards. And then one day you just have to finish it and it just goes out. And so then
a mix is never finished, only abandoned.
Oh, absolutely. So I think I would just, be less hard on yourself and also just take more risks, make as much music as possible. I don't know. I think that's what I did right. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Instead of.
It seems to me also, that if I had to take something away from this conversation, it's like you have this enthusiasm for all kinds of music and you just go and get it. And it just seems like nothing really stops you from just trying a new type of approach or a new type of genre or whatever it is. You seem game for anything. And I love that.
Yeah, say
about
yes.
What you're doing.
Yeah, just say yes to everything. I mean, and that's not for everybody, right? I mean, some people do way better the opposite, just digging in and being the best at one thing. Like I only make funk music and I kill at it. And that's awesome because like if you asked me to do a funk record, I'd be like, yeah, I can do that, but I'd be figuring it out with you,
Yeah. Well, it's all legit. So it's whatever speaks to you, whichever approach. Yeah. Wow. Sean, this has been really, really fun, really eye-opening conversation for me. I learned a ton from you. How can the audience find out about you on the internet or find you?
I got it. This is actually a major flaw of mine. I don't even have a website. I've been somehow every year I tell myself I'm going to build a website, and
you got to outsource it, man. You got to delegate somebody.
Yeah, like there really is. Like every year I'm just like, how do I keep getting work? I don't have a website, but I guess
the word of mouth is strong.
You can find some stuff through Mobtown Studios. I had a production company called wolfstreammedia.com that has some old music videos and records that I've made, which we actually kind of alluded to. Bunch of cool indie rock records and videos. I'll make a Spotify playlist that you can link.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah. That would be
and
fun.
you're on Instagram, right? You have a social media, so people can find you there, right?
Yeah. The ironically
that works also.
It's at sacred_bacon. It's just I should probably change that at some point. I think I just made that up when I was like 23, and honestly, that's been riding for too long too.
Yeah, as a Jew, I'll try not to be offended.
Thank you. I didn't want to. Somebody asked me that the other day, and I was like, I don't want to have to say that. It really think I liked it. I was like, bacon was really popular in like 2016.
Yeah, totally. Well, I love it, man. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your wisdom. It's been great to schmooze with you, and hope to stay in touch.
All right, talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, Ben.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Secret Sonics. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Sean as much as I did. If you enjoyed this episode or any of our other episodes, I'd super appreciate it if you would go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review. It really helps the show. And if you could share this episode or your favorite episode with a friend or two, that would also really help the show move forward. In addition to that, you can find us on social media. Just search for Secret Sonics. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. And you can email me at secretsonics@gmail.com if you have any comments, feedback, guests you might want to recommend, anything like that. So that's about it for now. Until next time, I hope you guys have a great week. Stay safe out there and dig in. Bye-bye.